Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good morning, everyone. This is a bright sunny day. Pleasant day. Okay, first thing we have on is the agenda. Is there any additions or corrections to the agenda? If not, we're in order for a motion to approve it.
I'll approve the agenda as presented.
Okay.
Second.
Been moved and second to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carries. Okay, the minutes, you know what, I did see one in here,
Okay.
and it was, God, I had it wrote down at home. Oh, right here, in regard to the arcade shed,
Mm-hmm.
authored, chair, should be authorized, I think.
Yep.
Okay, yep.
Got it.
With that correction, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
And I'll second that motion.
So we move in second to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, first thing we have is Justin. We didn't get that phone because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah, I would kick it.
It's supposed to ring in our office if you guys don't answer.
Morning, Justin.
Hello, how are you
Good morning,
guys?
Justin.
I don't think we have anything going on at the call.
So it's been a busy week.
Lot to report?
Yes, kind of. So on the agenda, we have resignation. I've had an S to that, resignations. I have 3 of them here today. Melanie Nelson put her resignation in with the last day of employment of March 24th. Katie Linen put her resignation in effective March 31st. And then myself for April 7th. And then I expect to more than likely get another one this week.
That in-house?
Except for Jean.
Except for Gene.
Yeah.
Why don't you explain to us, Justin, how you intend on winding down the operations along with the clients that we have?
Sure. So we writing's been on the wall for a while. We knew we were either going to lose staff or we were going to lose clients. Well, we lost staff first. So I was in contact with DHS about the HIP clients. Those are the clients that aren't a part of managed care. They'll be willing to take those clients as of April 1st, so that they'll have a home soon. With the AmeriHealth Caritas clients, I had talked to them and said, you may not have any staff. Are you going to be able to take the clients? They said that they will take their clients April 1st as well. So effectively, April 1st, all the clients would have a home, unfortunately, other than Carroll County Case Management, but they will have somebody looking over their cases. So it's my recommendation then that we probably look to close as of April 1st with, I'll stay that extra week after to kind of try to finish as much of the administrative stuff as possible. And then Jean, she at this time has no plans. She can stay through April, just to do some tidying up. I could leave her a list of things. We have a lot of files and stuff over there that probably, I don't know that you guys want, just sitting over there if they could be shredded. So we could kind of save some space with some of that. So I guess that would be my tentative plan, if you guys are okay with that, as much as you can be, but.
So had you had any direction from Veritas before this? I mean, did they give you more than what that letter said, or?
No, that was all. And in meeting with other administrators across the state, hearing same stuff that we were. I mean, it was really, we knew it was gonna happen, we just weren't sure when. The only way they can serve their clients is if they have staff first, so that's kind of what happened.
With the records, Justin, on that, is there any of those records that we have to keep for a specific amount of time?
Yes.
That's what I was wondering.
Yes, there will be some records, and part of that is, what I hope that Gene would be able to do is kind of label that and say, you know, these, you have to keep these until this date, these till this date. That way, you know, whenever somebody would get over there and want to tidy it up again in the future, that
You have the
they would
date on
know
there.
what to do with them, so.
Do we need to kind of keep this a little quiet from the clients until that moment? Or,
I planned on just putting a
You-
letter out, since we know
Okay.
kind of for sure, so I was gonna just put something in, that was my plan, just so that they would know. We've been kind of talking to them for a little while, that,
Okay.
hey, the ones that we've seen anyway, this could happen, and this is, you know, probably gonna happen, but, they don't know for sure, because we didn't know for sure. So,
Okay.
but now that it's looking like a reality, we'll probably just send something out to all the clients and guardians, just letting them kind of know, what our plan is, that somebody's gonna be there. For the HIP clients that are going to DHS, we already have the name of their new case managers, so we can give that information to them. The clients that are going to AmeriHealth Caritas, we don't know who their case manager is gonna be yet. So we won't be able to give that information out, but we can certainly, give them a number to,
Okay.
client services or something.
okay. I just don't want it to be a big shock.
Sure. To the ones we've talked to, it's probably not gonna be a shock.
Okay. All right.
Do you have a letter of resignation?
Yes, I have, all three of them here.
Okay.
When we did our cost report, I know last September, we had a situation with IME, there was like a $40,000 situation there. What's the situation, how's that gonna get resolved?
We haven't received the finalized report yet for that, so at some point that will come in sometime this spring. Usually, I think last year it came in March, so it should still come in March. And then however you guys want to handle it, we're not going to have any IME payments to kind of pay it back like we did in the past. The one that we had been paying for has been paid now, so I would guess they would probably want that paid.
Any idea what that amount would be anymore?
It's around 40,000.
I know you've been working that down.
Yeah, and the
by-
idea was that we would, you know, because we're able to make a little money with the MCOs by the end of June or so. We were hoping to be able to have enough to pay that off, but circumstances unfortunately changed.
I assume you've all got jobs within the MCOs, or?
I can speak for myself, and I did, yes.
I know when we had our case management advisory board meeting, that was last day of February or thereabouts, one of the parents was hoping that they would get jobs with the MCOs so that their kids could keep the same case managers, you know, so hopefully that'll be able to happen in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
It's gonna be, it's a possibility.
So, you know, if the client is with a different company, but the same person, that sure helps the transition for
Yep.
them.
Let me ask you this, Justin, maybe you don't know the answer. Is these MCOs gonna have offices out in the outlying areas, or?
So they have their main office in Des Moines, and then their case managers and supervisors work out of their homes. So like I would have an office out of my house, and then any of the case managers, they would have offices out of their homes as well.
Okay. So there will be some local.
Yeah, yeah, they, you know, they try to see, they know where all the clients are, which is different than last year when managed care started. They had no idea where their clients were. Nobody knew where to hire their case managers. At least with this transition, they know where all the clients are, so they can try to hire the case managers in those areas. So I would say they'll be as local as they were before. Obviously, probably no office in Carroll, but.
Well, I will say this, Justin, I don't think this is any of the desire of the board that would just happen this way. We understand this is what it's gonna be. The cards were dealt to us in a different way than what we wanted.
Mhm.
And I will say this, I want to thank you and your staff for putting up with these trying times, and putting up with us this long. I mean, I'm surprised somebody's stuck around this long. And I do appreciate the work you've done, and, you know, you made it work over there with, you know, we've had the ups and downs of this thing for what, 4 years?
It's been, yeah.
So, the day came, I guess.
Yeah.
And I do want to thank you for your leadership, and I know you've kind of went through some rough times on that, and I appreciate the work you've done for us.
I appreciate that. You know, we were very committed to Carroll County case management, you know, and it's just, unfortunately, circumstances changed.
Yeah, it's been a real roller coaster ride, but because of you and your staff during this whole thing, the clients were always well taken care of. And that speaks well to you and your staff. Thank you very much.
I express my thank yous as well. Justin, you've done a very good job. You know, this whole mental health thing has been, since I got on the board, just a roller coaster. I mean, you know, first with the closing of the Mount Pleasant and Clarinda, added to some, started really the process, and then the MCO's situation, the Mallard View. You know, I really have to be concerned about our mental health population. I think Carroll County's done the best that they could for their people in this area and whoever we served. But I don't want to editorialize here, but I think we're going to see some problems going forward. We're seeing problems now, and I know that you'll continue to do the good work that you do, and we thank you for that. But it's going to be challenging, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gonna be different.
And I agree with you, Dean. I think we're taking that one step away from local control again, and we had local hands-on, where we had the local desires and, you know, commitments. Where you get it that one step further, you're gonna lose that.
Yeah.
I guess one comment I would like to add is kind of involved in the hiring process of some of the latest employees. And it's kind of tough to see them, after you hire somebody like that, to see them leave. I mean, we got to play the cards that we're dealt, and I'd like to wish everybody over there the best on their future endeavors.
I appreciate you guys, you know, as a board, you guys have been second to none with supporting our program in the best of times and the worst of times. So, you know, we very much appreciate that, and having the best interests of, you know, Carroll County in mind. So we appreciate that too.
You have to wonder if this wasn't, you know, with the letter coming out, knowing that the MCOs will pick up some staff along the way, good staff, and they'll pick up the customers with them, you know. So basically took it over. Beyond our control. So it goes.
Would you please refer our comments to the rest of the staff?
Oh,
too?
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
I think we reluctantly take these, but we understand.
Need a motion on this, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, it's been a motion.
I'll move with regrets to accept the resignations of Justin Schieffer, Katie Lennon, and Melanie Nelson.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the resignations with regrets. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against our wishes.
Thanks and good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Justin.
that'd be great. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you.
Thanks, thank you. Thanks.
Good luck, Justin.
I will be in touch, probably.
Okay, yeah.
We still got local ties.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Justin. You went around very long, but I appreciate what you do.
Appreciate Another case of loss control, local control.
Courtney, you can take care of all the paperwork and everything down the stretch on that one, can't you?
I will be in charge of anything they leave, I guess I'll be in charge of,
Okay.
so hopefully, Gene can get all that labeled and we'll know how long
Yeah.
to keep it. and-
Just kind of get
Condense.
rid of it by attrition
Condenses
this
what we
time.
can and.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe,
His proposal of being there through, closing April 1 and him being around a week to kind of, and then allowing her to be there through the month of April might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Help clean up, get rid of.
Yeah.
You know, and once,
Consolidated in one place.
no, because I'm not gonna have any idea when I look at it, what I have to keep. and
Just keep it all because that's be the
I
only
would have
decision
to
you
because-
can make.
Because I wouldn't know.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm confident with Justin that the transition will go as smooth as it possibly can. He's
Yeah.
just he's not burning any bridges and running, he's cooperating the whole way.
We're almost budget neutral too, right?
Except for the 40,000.
Except for the IME.
So,
Yeah,
will we
What that is,
cost
Rich,
advisory
is,
yet?
does anybody explain that to you, Rich, what these IMEs? They had done some work and they had been overpaid for it with IME, the name of the organization, and they've been overpaid about $50,000 and they wanted their money back. And so as they were earning money, they were paying this entity back, but the bill was still like $40,000 that they owed them for overpayment. So it's a refund of an overpayment, just to make the long story short. And I would expect that liability would come back to us, but I don't know how that legally is.
Who is IME?
Iowa Medicaid something.
Enterprise, I think, so.
Is that something we should maybe confide in John with on that, maybe to see how that?
Well, I think if they ever send us a bill, maybe. I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't precipitate, I wouldn't, anything.
It'd
Don't
definitely,
agree to
yeah, it'd
pay.
definitely be something you'd wanna not
I-
just pay.
No.
It's not something I kept close track of, but I was able to find in our September 19th actual cost report where it was $40,068 at that time. So,
And to answer your question about cost advisory, they also do work with DHS.
That's right, I got.
So it might be a smaller bill because they won't have to do the case management, but they
Yeah,
still. do
I
with
forgot
DHS.
about that. As he was talking, I thought of that.
Okay.
Because they do that, if you're sure of that on EHS. Well, it's just one more step. We're gonna be removed from, okay. Next thing we have, unless anybody else had any more to add on that. Need approval of plats. This one we did not get with, by the regular means.
This one here?
Yeah. I just came with the minutes or agenda.
no, I got it on the under, I got an email on it.
I looked at it.
Yeah, so do I.
But was that with the regular minutes though, or agenda?
No, Carl had sent an
Carl
earlier
sent
one
it
out,
out.
because I looked at it, it came out like on Monday of last week. I
Yeah,
think.
right away.
Mhm.
It was just after our meeting, your meeting on Monday.
Yeah.
So, is that the only one we have, is that one with the
Mhm.
speeds?
Okay, then maybe I missed it.
Okay.
They're just taking an acreage, you're splitting it down, there's gonna be a new house.
Yeah, just an acreage off the farm. I'll move to approve the plat.
I'll second it.
Then moved and seconded to approve the plat. Any further discussion? If not,
Wait,
yes.
don't pull the trigger just yet. Do we have a minimum size? on
Not
that?
if it's existing.
No,
Okay,
yeah. If
If
it's
it's
not.
existing, it can be down to almost little or nothing.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, there's other exceptions. Let's say you got a 160 out there, and someone's gonna put a separate grain bin on that thing, they can go down to less, whatever size they
Yeah.
can, because it's agriculture exemption.
But if you sell a lot, nothing on it, then it has to be
Then
5
it's 5
acres.
acres.
That's, okay. Right, all right.
Any other questions?
Nope.
That was the one I want.
Thanks, appreciate it. This is the first one I've seen that small. I just-
Okay. Any other further questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. I appreciate those, good to ask those questions.
That's on, yeah. That one was, I missed that one.
Anything you wanna point out, Courtney?
You know,
I didn't see anything really too outstanding here.
I kind of glanced through these, on my department, just because, we had a computer go bad, so we have a new computer, but that was something that we usually budget for one a year. We try to rotate them out every 4 years, so.
I did have one.
I have one too. but
Did the
go ahead.
rent on the county attorney, that go to someone different than what used to be in the past?
Well, they moved.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, was this, that's, what was the last time?
I have no idea. I would have to
Okay.
look back and see if we paid them before.
Yeah, I know
I'm
that
wondering
I know
if-
they moved, but I just thought it was a different name.
You
All
know,
right.
I can look.
That's fine. You just,
The amount appears to be the same.
yeah, the amount's same.
I have a question, what is the lease on the Pat Agrees and that supervisor?
That's on the parking lot over at the Fricky Building over there.
The back?
Behind the-
Yeah.
behind the-
Okay.
I guess we're gonna have less traffic.
Yeah, we don't own that parking lot, we just rent it on the north side of that building.
On the east side of that building, of the Fricky building?
Northeast corner,
The north of it.
On the north side of.
Oh, north of it?
back of the, behind that house, and there,
Oh.
from the alley to that house is the parking lot that's rented.
Come in through the alley and then you come in.
Yeah.
Do we need to continue that?
Pardon me?
Yeah, I think so, the
Well,
building is no good without parking.
Yeah.
It's kind of an odd deal because they have no use for parking lot. If we don't rent it, it's worthless to them, but our building, but we need the parking lot, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll need that.
And then,
Okay.
if there's no other questions regarding the payables, I'd make a motion to approve the payables.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and second to approve the payables. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay. The proxy for reassurance annual meeting proxy, is this the one that we reinsure our health insurance to?
That's my understanding. It's a company that we're required, since we're self-insured, to have this company, they don't monitor it, but every year they look at what we've done and make sure we're within legal parameters, yeah.
Oh, so it's not actually the company that reassures?
No, that's HM. This
It is.
company is, since we're self-funded, this company actually reviews our plan every year and makes sure that
Okay.
we're following the guidelines. And this is just a proxy, the meeting of the members, and I could pass that around. Did she not give you a copy of that?
Yeah, there's a copy.
Oh, is there?
Of
Okay.
this, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, we're just authorizing the president to be our proxy.
I believe so, yes.
Any questions, guys? What's your wishes?
Well, I'll move to approve the annual proxy.
Yeah, I'll second that.
And that's to authorize chair to sign.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. You're right, we can make 10 o'clock. Okay, next we'll do the manure managements. And we have one here for Jim Helber in section 18 of Roselle, and they have made no changes to their MPL. And then next we have is Pine Ridge Pork. That is in section 30 of Roselle also. And I think this is just a, yeah, recent annual plan, original plan, manure management plan. Okay. And committee reports. Who wants to start? Rich?
Mine's easy. It's a great people at the emergency room. I didn't have anything other than we tried to attend the legislative in Des Moines, and that didn't work so well. So I had a very short week. This week coming up, we have ambulance tomorrow night. That's it for me this week.
Okay. Dean?
Okay, well, I'll just go back to last Monday. For those that could attend, I think you were there.
Lighting.
And, yeah, the lighting thing, you were there. I think it went, you guys can probably,
Very informative and
yeah, I think the
very
system.
unique.
Yeah, it is unique, and that's kind of the problem as far as it doesn't have much of a track record. I think the potential is there for it. And what they would like to do is they would put a system in on portion of the courthouse, and at no charge to us, and then to monitor and see how the system performs. And then if we decide to go throughout the whole courthouse, they will go ahead and there's no upfront money. It gets paid off of savings, similar to the original, that one group had in Coon Rapids. I think they had a similar presentation, if I recall. But this would be similar to that. The thing about it is that I think what you would do, you'd put the lighting in first, then monitor the situation, and then the additional savings that you got through the system, then you would pay on those savings. Because you're not going to pay on, I think just by putting LED lights in, I think they're saying you can get 60% reduction. It is best to put, you can retrofit these fixtures. It's best to put new fixtures in because of the
Node.
the node. There, that's the node that you put in, and they're assured that Mid-America will pay for that. Will pay for the fixture itself. So then once you run DC to the fixtures, that's where the additional savings in. And then on top of that, when you can monitor and control the system, you'll get additional. They're saying you could have, from what we have today, our electric bill could be 85% less of what we're paying on our lighting bill today.
Conceivably, yes.
Yes. So,
With Mid-America, their rebate thing, typically in order to do that, first you have to contact them and get an energy audit done and get approved of
Correct.
that. Did they go over that?
no, but we covered that at.
That's what I was gonna ask you next.
Yeah, at ISAC, we had, a member from Mid-America was there, and,
I was a consultant for Mid-America.
oh, was it, okay,
He was
consultant.
not in.
Okay, well, I missed the introduction, so I didn't get that, but, so yeah, I think that's the way it works. You have to
Yeah.
get the audit first.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I'm well aware of that. I've been through this
Yeah.
on another piece of property, and you have to get them, and they'll have the same auditor come out for both Wyant and Mid-America, but for us, we're probably only interested. And then they will issue you a report. And then after you get that, then you can go ahead and do it. I just want to make sure that we
Go through the process correctly.
Well,
do the
and
process.
Yeah.
Are you guys finished?
That's it. I just want to make sure we
But the
Yeah.
thing
finish that
is,
step.
I assume when you say there's no upfront money for the lights, so they're taking consideration of the rebates and stuff from Mid-America, I assume, right? They're taking control of them?
No, I think we get the rebates, and, the system itself, whatever rebates go against the system. But then after all the rebates are complete, and the rebates are gonna pay part of their system. And so if they're, whatever's left, I don't think it can be very much.
Well, I think most time rebates can take care of the biggest share of the cost.
Yes,
Yeah.
I, you know, there was, they didn't exactly say what the, you know, what the remaining balance could be, whether it be
With
20% or 30%, I don't know.
With Mid-America, with their lights, they have a schedule that they will pay so many dollars for installing each LED light. And that thing, it's a dollar figure rather than a percentage of the cost. And some of these companies, well, they can't get it, we have to get it. We have to show where we've installed it, and then we would get rebated, but.
Right.
But they could file that for us. Some companies even file the rebate for the person.
Sure.
And, but the entity, the county would have to get that rebate. And of course, we would have, what they want us to do is pre-agree to bump that back to them for payment of the installation.
So I'm, you know, that was just, I just report on the committee report. I think there was quite a bit of interest from others in the community, and the REC was there. They're interested. I need to talk to Steve Kraus. He got a hold of me. He's interested in that, in his building, his new building over here.
It
Um,
appeared to me that new construction is where all the savings is at.
Yeah.
Because basically from the belly button, from the wall switch up is not electrical wire anymore. It's like it's a telephone wire. It's the same wire that your
Ethernet wire.
Ethernet works off of.
Yeah.
And it can handle up to,
Well,
I'm trying to think of how many.
I think it was 90 watts.
90 watts, I think
Yeah.
that's correct, on just one wire.
So with the LED, they can use a lot lighter line.
A lot lighter. line.
Can't they use the old line, or is that take too much
The
electricity?
AC?
They can get to a switch like this and then leave the old and then control that switch
Okay.
by turning it off and on remotely.
But I guess my question is, will the old wiring work with the new lights, or is it drag too much electricity out of the system?
They have to be retrofitted in, it drags down a lot, but you have to retrofit them to
Yeah,
LEDs.
and I would agree with Rich, it works better for new, I mean, they would look at this and see how easily they can retrofit.
There's cost savings there, just the most cost savings in new, but there is still cost savings there.
Yeah, I mean, if you can run the wire from the beginning, I mean, if, you know, what I'm kind of thinking at is, if we got some kind of track record here and we can see some savings, it might be something we may want to look at if we build a new jail. I think that would be, you know,
Place to start.
the place to start, yeah.
In addition to this being a good place to start, we have other buildings in the county too, whether
Sure.
it be the shop or the Fricky building.
Well, and the other thing there is that you can control the system from one location. So you can control the Fricky building from here, you can control secondary roads from here if you had that. So I mean, it is a nice system.
What's our next step?
Well, what I can do is I can have that Steve LaRue come back and to the board and meet with the board and
Put something together.
put something together, yeah. Yeah. So,
With the board of wish, it sounds pretty good to me.
yeah, okay.
Well, it sounds like, and this guy, I can't figure
I
out
wouldn't mind
who that guy was with, but he was with Brandon Mouch. He also consulted for Alliant. He works these programs together with Mid-American Alliant. And what you're saying is that basically then the lights run off of DC then, right? So they convert somewhere in the building and to DC and.
Well,
It converts, it begins at the main little switch thing that they have, but then it goes to a node. That's where you run this wire, and it can go up to 300 feet from the main terminal. So yes, they're converting it into DC, and then they're running it through the building.
It's basically controlled from the computer panel.
yeah, it's.
Probably like a control panel.
Yeah, and, you know, they had a Cisco router there, but you would probably have tiers of routers
Mhm.
for the large building, you know, and it would run. But he said, it's a software program that they sell, and that would basically control the whole building.
And they can put 10% lighting in a room if they want to.
Yeah,
If you just,
Put it down.
if it's just a room that's just a pass-through room, They can dial it back to 10% lighting, just enough to see. You
And
don't
then
have
it's-
to run it at full.
Then through a light sensor, or a motion detector sensor, if someone, say like, if you come into the courthouse after hours, and you can take those lights out there, say like at 2 o'clock in the morning, and bring them down to 10%. You can have every light in this building switchless. I mean, you can have them come up at 6:30 in the morning, or 7 in the morning, 7:30 when they get here, so that they don't even have to turn on a switch. And you can do that from, yeah. And then say at 2 o'clock in the morning, the lobby lights can go down to 10%. You can have them come up again if somebody comes in, and then you'll see that blip on that somebody was in the building,
Mhm.
at that time, because you'll be able to see it on it monitors through a graph, all the, so it's kind of a security system too. And as
You
far
can
as new.
control it, so if you have a fire, it'll turn off all the lights in all the rest of the room and just light your pathway that you're supposed to go out. It'll light up just those lights.
You can also once it's wired, say like in the jail, you can also wire in your cameras.
Yeah, lots of stuff can go inside.
Yeah, a lot of stuff can go in there. It's almost like a security system as well, but you won't have to,
Pull new wire.
You don't have to pull new wire,
Back
it's
off of
there.
this wire.
yeah.
So if an office is empty or nobody's moving, the lights will shut off with the motion detectors, is that right?
You can do it that way.
You can do it that
You
way,
can do
otherwise-
that way with the regular light switch now, but this one will give you a track record of how it's been going on, so you can say, we're not even using that room hardly enough.
So like this room right here, if on Mondays, we have the board meeting, you can program it so that every Monday at 8 o'clock, the lights come on. And then, say at noon, they would go off, or you could have a motion detector in here that when there's no motion, it goes off by itself.
You have to make a motion to turn the lights on.
You have to make a motion.
Okay.
I don't know,
That's right.
snoring now counts.
Well, let's look into it a little more.
Yeah, I think-
Some opportunity. I expect a lot of these other things they want to do.
What?
A lot of these other things would cost extra money,
Give something here.
some of the monitoring things.
Yeah. What's going on?
I don't know. She's got the giggles over there. I don't know what's going on with her.
Okay, moving on here. On the day at the Capitol, I did get a chance to talk to Bryant Best, but we were kind of interrupted. and
How was that
Things go-
conversation?
well,
We were talking about licensing last time I knew.
Yeah, yeah. And
Before the lights went out.
Something similar to that.
It wasn't by Ethernet.
It was briefly.
Anyway, Gene, you could probably comment on the licensing thing. We talked to Bill Heckroth and talked to several people. It's on the path. It just has to go.
Well, I kind of addressed it Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I went
Should
down to
happen this
Bear,
week.
I was gonna really rip into it, but the way that thing started, I thought, better not. So I backed off a little bit. But
least
it
you
is in the
didn't
Senate. My question to him was, this was supposed to be a non-controversial bill, and it's stalled in the Senate right now, and I says, you guys have run a lot of controversial stuff through in a short time. What's the purpose? I mean, what's happening there? It just is not happening. And my concern was that we have up here, trying to run people through in 2 days a week instead of 5. We're having constituents stand in line and then wind up getting turned away.
Yeah.
They're taking off work or taking kids out of school, what this is costing us. And he said he thought, his final comment was that he thought something would happen this week.
Yeah, Gene, you did a good job of addressing it in the way you addressed it at the legislative forum. I think it was very well stated.
Well, I'm going to pull away. I really didn't get anything that anybody doesn't really know about any of these items. I expressed my concern to both Brian Best and Mark Siegebart about losing local control. I said, that's probably my biggest complaint on this, what's going on, is just basically losing local control. And I don't know where that's gonna stop. I mean, it's, you know, I'll let you guys address the other issues. Then at the, legislative conference, the master matrix, went to that. That was very interesting, and that could have gone on for, I think, a couple more hours. There was a lot of people very upset about the master matrix. There's counties passing resolutions to, correct me if I'm wrong there, you guys, but I think it's to just basically moratorium on the master matrix.
But-
I think Winneshiek County was the first one to do that.
But you gotta remember, some of the people there was a mixture of different people in that audience. There was some very anti-livestock people.
Right, yeah, and, you know, and I think Winneshiek County, I think they've got a lot of trout streams up there and stuff like that, and I can see
Completely
that.
different soil structure up there.
Sure.
They don't have the clay subsoil like we do, and even when you apply manure, whoosh, you can get right down in the groundwater. It's
Yeah.
a tough situation up there, so limestone bedrock.
I think there was some comments on just what does it really mean? It really means nothing.
What do you call it,
To-
Marty, your soils, man?
Karst soils, you have
Yeah,
sinkholes,
karst
and it
soils.
goes straight to the water source.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was that was very interesting. Then we got into other subjects as far as roads again, the bidding manure spreaders and the traffic on the roads. One thing, and you guys you probably know more about this than anything, I think, wasn't one county they talked about they're replacing their bridges with
With railroad cars?
railroad cars?
Oh, that's been
Yeah.
going on for years.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh, okay,
not-
I thought that
that's-
was unusual.
Yeah.
Buchanan County,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that who it was?
Yeah.
their engineer there is a real innovative, and he's been doing stuff like that for a long time.
Yeah.
Took a flatbed and they just,
Cut the
lay it over the
sides
creek instead of a wall there and set it on there.
Couple wings on each side and
Mhm.
plank it across.
Put concrete on top of it and go.
His problem, last I heard, was getting railroad cars.
The jail classification, I was not very, they talked about PREA and.
Yeah, it was more on PREA than it was on the classification.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was a little bit disappointed in that one. I really didn't get the information out of there that I wanted to.
Yeah, that was probably my least favorite.
Yeah.
It's
That
kind of
was-
interesting, the way you talked about the Marshall County Jail, I didn't realize it's like 182 bed facility. It's a
Yeah,
big jail.
184, I think they went from, what'd they say, from
From
40,
40 or
something like that, to 184, 82.
Yeah.
Where is this?
Marshall County.
Marshall.
The old, along Highway 30 there, the old county home, that's what it
County home.
is,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's right
sitting
there
out-
on the
Sitting
outside
out
of
in
the
the
road.
corner there, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Live Healthy Iowa. Everybody was eating a donut while we were talking about being healthy. I thought it was pretty good, and of course, there's always networking that goes on that I get more out of, but I thought it was a good session. I'm sure that I've been kind of rushed here the last couple of days, but I'll probably come back with some more stuff actually next week, so, once I go to my notes.
What's this week, Neil? Or-
This week? This week I've got Conservation Board tonight. I think that's it. Next week is Board of Health. And I guess, there's probably gonna be at the Board of Health meeting, there's gonna be a discussion about space over there. So we do wanna put that on the agenda for,
We can, I'm just gonna ask that you include VA and general assistance in that.
in this discussion.
Yeah, if
Okay.
there's gonna be people moving around, they wanna be.
Part of that?
Involved in that, yes.
Okay, Neil?
Okay, let's go back a while, but February 27th, had a case management advisory board meeting. I saw that Rich had already reported on that, but as you well know, we didn't really have very much information from that meeting as opposed to this morning, where we got all kinds of information about some of the changes, that just how fast those changes happen. Thursday, March 2nd, we had a jail study committee here, and Gene was here on that, and we basically talked about having this architectural firm come out here, and they're gonna come out here tomorrow morning for a freebie, just give us a real rough idea of some of our options and what it may cost, that type of thing. Farm Bureau contacted me and wanted me to talk to them, which I did on Thursday the 2nd, and pretty much just what we've been doing there. They took quite an interest in the driver's license thing. They took an interest in what was going on in Mallard View. They wanted to know what secondary road projects was. And of course, we went over the budget. But they are coming out with, and the meeting went very well. It was a good group to talk to, and we had a great discussion I had a great discussion with the Farm Bureau Board. They are coming out with their annual questionnaire, where they're going to the public and asking for their input on different things. They kind of opened a door. He says, is there any questions that the county would like to have on there? So I'll just spring that one on you today. Is there anything, they didn't guarantee, but if we had a unique question that was important to the county, they would consider putting it on their questionnaire to their membership. Think about it. If you have a question about that, we could get back hold of Heidoff. He's kind of
Jim.
running the show there, Jim. Yeah. So I thought that was very good of them to open that
I would
door.
almost would like to suggest maybe a question about the jail, but I think it's a little early for that.
I think so. We did have quite a discussion about the jail. They had a lot of questions about it, and
What kind of feedback do you get from them?
yeah, they understand the situation, and they understand that we're debt-free. They, of course, don't want to spend money if we don't have to. I think they're looking at it a lot like we are. Didn't get any major resistance or strong support either way. They were just very inquisitive, I thought, and want to know more information as it becomes available.
See anything about the per capita?
You know,
Mental
we
health.
did. I talked about that, and I explained that Farm Bureau was the problem there, and they were just completely unaware of that, pretty much. It's not a local issue, it's a state deal, not per capita, and I've heard other people in our rolling hills who've talked to their Farm Bureau membership and says, we never talked about that at our local, wasn't on our local question, it's a state deal. And so I explained that to them. I considered getting something like that on their questionnaire. I didn't know how to word it in a question so that their membership would understand it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think that's
If it's
too
news to them.
complicated issue. You can't
It's-
just do it the question.
It's too-
Right.
In
It's
order,
too- it is.
before you ask the question, you have to almost have a seminar to explain the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're a microcosm of their members, and if they're unaware of it, I'm sure the members would be just as unaware.
Well, see, the thing, when we started, was that a year ago, you and I talked to different people, trying to get this promoted.
Yes.
I talked to one of the guys here, and the answer came back with what the state wanted.
Yeah.
It wasn't local, and this person was not gonna even walk.
I think it's a general,
Off that.
I think it's a general philosophy of the Farm Bureau not to fund mental health.
No, I think their general philosophy is not to increase property taxes, and that's what pays for mental health, so it backs into mental health.
Yeah.
Well, that time their philosophy was, what he told me was, they want the state to pay for all mental health.
Yeah, so, okay, so anyhow, we'll think about that. If any have any questions, we can get ahold of Jim, and they would entertain putting it on their membership. I appreciate the offer. I don't know if it'll come up a question or not, but I appreciate the offer. Okay, then on the 8th, which I believe was a Wednesday, there was a meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission for that Mallard View situation. It could not have gone any better. They started the meeting a minute late to get a quorum, but the discussion on the issue was quite brief, quite to the point. They voted unanimously to pass it on. Now the city needs to publish it, and on March 27th, which is a Monday, the city council is going to have their first public hearing on this. and on this ordinance. And if they could actually take final action there if they waive the second and third readings. So March 27th, City Council, 5:15 is the next major hurdle for this. And all indications are that it's going very well for Mallard View. A couple of the other people, Chad Canny was there, Nancy and Ken Snyder were there. I spoke briefly, and basically all I said is that our board unanimously approved it. We attended the city council meeting, and they unanimously approved it. And we're hoping that we'd get the same response from planning and zoning, which we did. And I'll explain that the rest of the board is totally supportive of it, but you were all in Des Moines at a state conference meeting, so I want them to understand that we all wanted to be there as well.
Just have to go through the process.
That's right, I think that. Okay, and then Saturday, I attended the legislative forum, and Marty and Gene were there. As we previously said, Gene had some good comments about the driver's license to kind of keep that thing rolling down the road, and his points were well taken. There was, it got a little heated when they talked about livestock. A person came up and made livestock producers sound like the ultimate polluters, and it had a nerve ending on someone who knew better. And but after we got it all settled down, they talked that over. But it was an interesting one. And
Mark and Brian were both there?
No, just Mark.
Or just Mark this time?
When they set this up in the beginning, Brian says that particular meeting I won't be able to
Okay.
make. And he wasn't there either. But maybe Gene and Marty might want to say more about that. They were there as well. Just a couple other things that were part of interesting. We had a lot of discussion in this office about the waters of the United States, and all of the counties, all of the states opposed what the EPA was doing there, and Trump has put a stop to that. So I see when Trump signed that executive order, our NACO guy was on his right-hand side there when they told the EPA to rewrite that. So that appears to have changed very favorably for us. And then one other thing, legislative, the 1996 levy cap, I'm not sure how that is. I think it hasn't been brought up very well, but it's gonna get brought up again.
It did not go through the fund.
No, but they can bring it
But
up.
they can bring it up through Ways and Means because it's a taxation bill.
So I was concerned when I heard that. Bill Heckross says, don't be concerned, it's gonna come back in the Ways and Means, and he thinks it's got a chance.
That's
Yeah.
Is that what you?
Yep, that's what I heard
what
too.
I've been told.
Mark said the same thing.
Okay. Those are my committee reports. This week, tomorrow, we have the jail study committee meeting. It's on Tuesday. Wednesday, at Coalition Services, have a local planning meeting also on Wednesday. And Friday, I'm in Webster City at the Second Judicial District meeting. Okay.
You, Steve? Steve?
Yes, I am.
You know what, why don't we'll stop here with our committee reports, we'll take you on, that way we don't tie you up any longer than we have to,
Did I
okay?
have this wrong?
Do I have a chair?
Okay.
Do we have an ambulance meeting tomorrow this morning? You didn't mention it, Neil did.
Well-
Did you?
What?
Did you get that too?
Yeah.
There's
Good
an
morning.
ambulance meeting tomorrow night?
Carroll County?
Yeah,
But we're not,
like you're
that's
done.
not when we're doing
Thank
the
you.
other thing, is it?
I thought it was.
We'll see if they can do well with a 4 seed, or 5 seed, huh?
Five seat.
Steve, nice to meet you.
Rich.
Rich, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Dink, nice to meet you. There you go.
Well, I tried to get the chairman to add the NCAA brackets to our meeting.
the
here, but he wouldn't
agenda?
do it, so we're gonna listen to you.
Well, I've got, actually, I'm gonna be in Kansas City on Thursday. We've got an interview for a jail project down there, and I said, well, I'm gonna be wearing my Iowa State socks. I don't wanna really, there's a lot of KU people down there, so I don't wanna offend too many, but I said, hey, it's Thursday, I'm gonna be definitely decked and ready to go on, so. Well, I appreciate you guys taking a little time just to visit with me. It's Courtney, right?
Yes.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
we've talked on the phone, and I know that you guys have been looking into the jail issue you have here, big kind of researching and doing some tours and some other things. Just a little background, Steve Davis, I'm over in Des Moines now. I spent about 25 years down in Kansas City. I've been doing jail design and detention design since '87. So people say, so did you go to school for that? Well, it wasn't a specialty we had at Iowa State, but once you've done 3 of them, all of a sudden you become a specialist at. So that's what I have been doing quite a bit for the last several years. With Shive Hattery now in Des Moines, we have done a number of jail projects throughout the state, most recently Decatur and Monroe counties. We have Carroll, Clinton County over in Clinton, Iowa. We're actually bidding out the jail project right now. Projects in also Missouri, Macon County, Missouri. We have a jail vote coming up in Dent County, Missouri that I'm working with folks down there on. We're doing work out in South Dakota, so we do work throughout the Midwest. And just wanted to come in and find out kind of what you guys' thoughts are, or where you're at in the process, and just kind of hear from you in terms of what's going on and what your steps are and where things are at.
We're in the study mode right now.
Okay? And you have a jail committee together, do I understand?
We have jail committee, we've
Okay.
toured about 6 different jails to see what works and what doesn't work. We're toying with the idea of remodeling. Would be a difficult situation here, so another option is to build, which
Mhm.
the price scares us. But
Mhm.
and then we have a kind of interesting footprint here if we would decide to build.
It's been a while since I've been here, but yeah, I remember downstairs seeing how the layout that you have, a little different.
And even of our property to build on, have its own unique challenges.
Right,
So it's
right.
possible. So
Right.
that's kind of where we are. No decision has been made to definitely build, definitely remodel.
Sure. If you don't mind asking, what jails have you toured? Have you had just some of them maybe that you've had a chance to go to?
Sac, Crawford County, Montgomery. I went down to Adair, or Adele.
Okay.
Greenfield.
You guys did you go to Atlantic?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes,
Cass
Cass
County.
County. Yeah,
Okay.
Cass County.
Okay. I don't know, closest to you guys, we did, like I said, Monroe County might be close, but how big, what's the numbers you have in your jail now?
14 is
14 now? Do you have an idea through this study of what numbers you might be looking at that you might want to build for in the future? Are you housing out of county currently?
No,
Not
we're,
this time.
Well, that's
well,
good.
just
we're at
one.
capacity right now.
Yeah, we might have one.
We have one out right now.
One out of county?
Yeah.
So 14, you're probably looking at 20, if you're at 80% when you're full, 22, 24, maybe, or more in terms of beds. Usually you figure at 80% you're full because of classification and peaking factors, by the time you start dividing it up, so.
We're going to go to this pony program, and
Excellent.
We're scheduled May?
yeah, it'll be a month.
Sometime around May,
It'll
maybe.
be a month and a half before they get here. But,
Okay.
We're going to, and they're going to help us determine some of those things. Yeah.
Are you looking at going out to Aurora for the 4-day program that they offer?
They come here now.
They're coming
Yeah,
here
they'll come here and assess.
for 2 days, that's
But
what.
they also offer a 4-day program out in Aurora that you can go to.
We have planned on that.
Okay, I did that, it was several years ago, it was actually with a county down in southern Kansas, probably not much bigger than, well, probably about the same size, Chautauqua County. Went out with them to the pony program. It's a great program, find out a lot of good information in it. The interesting thing was when I came back, we started talking in the office, I said, pony it's a great program, but what they offered out there I thought was geared more for larger facilities. They spent a day talking about the value of direct supervision versus indirect supervision, which I don't know if you've heard about the difference of that, but direct supervision, you actually put an officer right in the day room with the inmates. Well, I said, on small facilities, you can't do that. I mean, you need, 100, 200 bed facility where I'm putting them in with, 40 or 50 people. You just can't do that with a 14 or 20 bed facility. So I came back and actually worked the time, developed a program that I called Pony Light. And it took a lot of the information that Pony presented, because it was really the philosophy that we've been using in terms of moving forward, but then brought it down to what was more workable for smaller and medium-sized counties. But does all the same things, looks at the study, looks at what the needs are independently, and then looks at what the options are in terms of expansion, remodel, or build new, and what that might look like as you move forward. So I applaud you for that. I think that you'll learn a lot from that. It'll be a good program for you to do. Do you have a timing at what point?
We have no timeline.
No time frame at all yet? Okay.
Our biggest time right now is probably this pony program, that's it.
Okay.
I mean, we don't-
And how soon did you say they were, a couple weeks?
May,
May?
around
Okay.
May, last time I'd heard.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Right.
Okay, all right. Well, what I would like to do is, I will drop off some information. This is, I apologize, I didn't bring enough here, but there's one that's just kind of a statement of our qualifications, some of the experience we have. Here's a couple of brochures that just kind of talk about our detention experience that we have. At some point, obviously, as you move through it, you may say, hey, we're going to proceed with this. We need to look at, maybe get an architect or somebody on board. At that point, we'd certainly welcome the opportunity to come in and visit with you. As you're touring around, I would say, Monroe, Jasper County is one that we did.
Did you,
Polk-
Ringo County, did you do anything down there?
Ringgold did
About
not.
3-4
Did
years
not.
ago.
Did not work with Ringgold.
But you said Decatur.
Decatur we did do. They did strictly a jail. There isn't any offices in it. The sheriff's office is in a downtown building right next to it, and the jail is right behind it, so it's all jail.
So are you, basically, you can do a remodel, you can do everything?
We can come in and look at what makes the most sense for you. Look at remodel. If that makes the most sense, we can look at that. If it doesn't, then we look at
Any
that.
experience with the pod situation? Have you used
Podular design, I would say, is what we use exclusively.
Okay.
If you look at jail design, there's two components that you want in jail, good jail design. Minimize movement, maximize visibility. When you minimize the movement, you want to look at, where inmates will be going within the facility and to the various functions. And when you maximize the visibility, you want that officer to be able to look into those different areas. This was actually one of the slides I did with my Pony Light presentation I did that shows that podular, where it has that officer in the middle, your housing all around it, and then that officer has the view into it. One of the things I found interesting on several of the projects that I've come back to after the fact, say, so how's it working out? Is it doing what's, and a couple of different times I've had the staff or the sheriff say, well, the staff love it and the inmates hate it. I said, why do the inmates hate it? Well, because they can see everything going on now. I said, well, isn't that too bad? I mean, that's kind of what we try to design for, so that they can actually see into all those things.
But I think when you're talking about pod, you're talking about where we visit one where they actually brought a pod in. and set
Oh,
it.
you mean you're talking about modules?
Yeah.
Cell modules? Yes, actually, the first project I ever did back in '87, we used precast modules on it. Since then, we have, currently, I would say we use more steel modules within the housing unit. Clinton County, we're using steel modules on that with a rear chase. A couple things you may hear about is a front chase, rear chase on the cells. Front chase takes a little less square footage, but if you have any kind of work you have to do on any of the plumbing equipment, you have to get the inmates out of the day room so that a maintenance guy can go in and work on it. With the rear chase, they can go in behind. If there's a plumbing problem, they can work on it and they're not in with the inmates. And so you don't have to worry about as much about, tools or making sure things get picked up after the case.
Can those be retrofitted into existing buildings?
The steel can in a lot of cases. It just depends on what your angle of access is. They're light, so you can pick those up with a forklift. And if you have a way to get into a building, you can do that. I did one down in Dunklin County, Missouri, which was down the Boot Heel, and it was in an old paper mill. And they opened up the one end, and we just forklift them in, set them on the floor, stacked them up, space around it. So you can come in and retrofit those. Some of the other things that you can do in a retrofit is a steel panel. It's not the module, but it's a steel panel that come out. Trust Built up in Huron, South Dakota is one of them that makes those panels. And so if you don't have access to bring a module in, you can open up, you can bring those steel panels in and stand them up in place, and they weld together. In the end, they become similar to what the module is, but it's just with a panel as opposed to the module. So what I would say is we'll come in and look at what makes the most sense, depending on the size and the cost of everything, what makes the most sense construction-wise. Because there is a number of options out there.
In your past experience, if you do a remodel in an existing building like this, does the entire building have to be brought up to ADA compatible?
ADA.
No
and-
matter where at in the building?
ADA and codes, your jail codes. You know, you'd have to get, everything has to be sprinkled. You have to have a smoke evacuation system in to be able to get the smoke out. But in in what you're looking at there, I would bet that the state probably wants to bring everything up to ADA so that we can meet all that. Once you come in and start doing work.
Bathroom doors and throughout the whole courthouse.
I would guess.
Now,
Would that be the case?
if you build a new building, let's say right out this window, if you attach it, does that count?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
If you're just bringing in a corridor and attaching, it really is how much you're doing within the existing building.
Okay.
You know, you kind of hit a percentage and they start looking at it going, hey, if you're gonna do that much remodel in that building, then you need to bring the whole thing out.
Okay.
But just to bring it over, in fact, we've got the one that we're doing down in Denton County now, they have the jail across the street from where the courts are at. The courts building, they have does not meet ADA. Right now, we're bringing a corridor across, we're just attaching with the corridor. I said, you guys don't even want to get into updating that right now. So that's how we're looking at that.
Get your checkbook out.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
But, you know, we can help look at all those things, because when you get in, there's lots of different options. The other thing I feel that we bring that's rather unique is we will help you look at what's going to be the most staff efficient to operate. And we'll be able to give you operational analysis, depending on, okay, suppose we remodel, what does it cost to operate? Suppose we build new, what does it cost to operate? And do an operational analysis. You may have seen some in the paper, Dallas County was going to their fourth jail vote now. We're not involved with that up front, but Samuel's group is the construction manager involved in that. And when they got involved on this fourth time around, they were saying, we don't have information on what the operations of this thing is going to be. So we're working with them over in Clinton County, and we provided that kind of information at Clinton County. So they came to us and we kind of worked on what the operational analysis is. And if you look at what they're promoting now, what they're saying is over a 30-year period, it will cost us $20 million less to build our new and operate it than it would to stay in our old and be shipping out and to try to operate that. And that was information we were able to provide them that, you know, they can take out and be able to show the public. So I think operationally, you know, facilities like this, that ends up being 80% of the lifetime cost of building. Obviously, bricks and mortar are something that, you know, we want to pay close attention to. But boy, you don't want to build something that's going to cost you an arm and a leg to operate, and over the lifetime, you go, that costs more than it would have if we'd done something different, so.
That's kind of along the lines of a question that I was going to have, and that is, do you, you know, a lot of architectural firms that do needs assessments for companies. Do you do anything like that? And I guess, you know, this is kind of for the committee too, as to how we determine whether we need to be a 14 or a 25 or a
We do
64 or what, you know,
in
I
terms
mean.
of determining what your population is going to be looking at
And
in the
then,
future.
you know, I think you'd want
Demographics.
to reach out to the, you know, to what the other counties close to us, you know, I mean, do you guys do anything like that?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I will tell you, if you talk to Pony, and when you talk to them, they will strongly recommend that you get an independent third party to do a needs assessment. Have somebody independent that does it, that's all they do, not an architect, but that's all they do. And the rationale behind it, and I understand it, is they're going to come to you and say, you need a 24 bed. You need a 32 bed facility for, 15, 20 years out. It's, as you go to the public and the public says, well, why does it need to be that much? If you tell them, well, our architect looked at it, and that's what they said. In some communities, they kind of go, well, of course your architect said that, that's how. But having said that, we can do that. And I can tell you that with great confidence, I think that we'll be within, 5% or so of what an independent would do. Really, as a group, what you need to decide is, does it make more sense for us to get somebody independent to look at this? And then when that number's done, give it to my architect and say, this is what we need you to design for us. Or for us to, we can do them either way.
So who is the third-party independent?
A good third-party independent. I could send you some names of some that we have. I have one that's, that I know he's actually down in the Kansas City area. He just works on his own out of his house, but he had worked for a couple of large groups doing this, and he does this all over the area. He did independent assessments for us in Dakota County, Nebraska, and he did independent assessment when we did Clay County up in Iowa. And he can come up and do those kind of things, and would do those for relatively
So there was, I was talking to Lynn County Supervisor this last week at the Cedar Rapids. When the flood went through there, they built a new jail. And they had quite a debate about how large to make it, because I think they had like around 200 capacity first, and they doubled it. And it was, the sheriff was pushing for it to increase revenue. That was one of the sources. He wanted to have a large enough jail so that,
I will say, my
as a
personal,
revenue generator.
I will say my personal experience, and I have done a couple facilities where they did it and it became a revenue generator for them. Probably the biggest one we had was Dakota County, Nebraska. It was right across the river from Sioux City. And the feds were coming over to him and said, listen, every day we're looking for 70 beds. Every day, and we're hauling them all over. If you had something with 70 beds right across the river from us, do you think we'd come to you?
Sounds
Yeah.
like the Yes Center clientele maybe, for, from South Dakota.
Yeah. Which one was it?
Is this-
We're doing some work up in South Dakota too.
Okay, well, I just curious as to the clientele, what they were getting of it. Was it people off of reservations a lot?
Okay, yeah, that becomes kind of an interesting challenge to make those work. We've looked at some up there, but yeah, it's a.
So, but this is over in the eastern part you're talking about, not? No.
No, this
South
is up
Sioux
in,
City.
Okay, I missed that.
right,
Yeah,
up
Sioux
by Sioux
City.
City, Dakota. What I tell most counties out, in most cases, it doesn't make sense to go into the jail business. There's just not enough there. But let me say this. I think that it's wise to build for what you're gonna need 15 to 20 years out, so that in 5 years, you're not coming back to the public going, hey, we're full again. Which means on day one, you're gonna have some extra beds. You'll have more than you need because you built for 15 to 20 years out. So in that case, reach out to those counties around you. See if they can come in to help that. Use that money to offset, to pay your debt service off early. But I've seen several counties that got into it, said, we're gonna use it to pay our payment. And one thing or another changed, and all of a sudden, they weren't getting that income, but the bill still came due. So my recommendation always is, unless you've got a stream that's already said, we're committed to coming, build what you need for your 15 to 20. Yeah, go ahead and lease out to surrounding counties. And if 5, 10 years down the road, that you say, I think we could do this and it could be something more, well, then look at expanding and housing full time. But I'm real slow to say, yeah, get into the jail business.
Well, I guess the big thing that would be concerned about is that vision. To be able to determine 10 or 15 years down the road what the capacities requirements are going to be. And, how do you know that is,
It's awful hard to
who's
get-
going to be able to provide that vision to, you can take trend lines, and the trending is right now that, the jails are full.
full, even the locals are full.
And so is that trend line gonna continue?
They're not shipping them out to state jails anymore to keep them local.
Because the state's backing off expenditures, and
Mhm.
so those are things that,
Well, the state closed them here.
We look at, and let me just share this in terms of trend lines, because I've had people ask that question before. Trend lines look, they're just that, it's a trend, and the farther back you have history, the more accurate I feel that trend line can be. If you look at any trend line, at any point along that line, you're above what that trend line is, or you're below what that trend line is. But the question is, what's the trend? What's the trend in? And I would say it's kind of like investing, you know, there's a little bit of, hey, hold the, you know, stay steady, don't get too concerned. If you're below it right now, you know that the change has come. What we see a lot, Iowa's not any different, is, you know, the state's pushing a lot of people back, trying to get the counties to house more of those, to relieve some of the pressure at the state. We can take a look at that. We can look at the counties around, say, where are they at, and try to predict that. There might be conversations you'd have with some of those counties in terms of, if we have it, would you be coming? So that you can kind of take that into account. Nobody has a perfect crystal ball, but I think we do a pretty reasonable job in terms of doing that. And, independents do too.
Talk to us about your terms of engagement.
In terms of contract or how something like that would work?
Cost, or what do you charge? How do you?
Typically, what we would do is we would come in and say, what services that you need from us? You know, do you want us to just do a study here? Do you want us to help you get to a vote? Do you want us, you know, where is it you want us to go? And then we would make a proposal to you. A lot of times what we will do with that proposal is say, let's say it's $30,000 to do a study and to help you get to a vote. If you're successful with that vote and we go on with you, we can credit probably up to half of that towards a final contract. Because a lot of that work that we would probably be doing in the study and stuff would be valuable information that we would need moving forward. So a lot of times that's how we would work something, is say, this would be our cost, you know, to get you up to that vote, and then, you know, we credit half of that back after we're successful, which we have. So I will say we have had a very good success rate. Historically, the company's been at 70%. I will say since 2008, when the you know, recession really hit bad, we've only had 2 votes that have failed out of 12. And both those we're going back and redoing them now. There was some things that caused those to fail. But typically, what I find is 2 reasons votes don't pass. One, everybody's not on board. If everybody doesn't agree with it, and, you know, 1 or 2 people, particularly at the courthouse, saying, I think this is crazy, you got an uphill battle. Or 2, the public doesn't feel like they're being informed. They feel like these guys just want a blank check. They haven't answered the questions. Pony will show you, though, and they will explain to you, go through that process. Have the committee go through that process with you. Because then when it comes time to actually go out and promote it to the public, that committee's the one that's out in the lead on it. That, you know, they don't like it any better than their neighbors do. You know, so it's not the board wants to build a jail or the sheriff wants to build a jail. It's these citizens saying, you know, this is a problem we have. We've been with them on this process looking at what the solution is, and we feel this is the best solution. So we don't like it any better than you do, but we feel this is our best solution for these reasons. In those cases, and I find that, you know, it's in general, then it's successful.
I'm thinking we're probably gonna go through the Pony program before we do any kind of commitment with anybody.
Sure.
You think
You
that
bet.
sounds reasonable?
I do. Pony actually encourages you to go through the program before you get an architect on board, because they'll help you kind of talk about, you know, what to look for in terms of an architect. The one I did in Chautauqua was a little bit unique in that they had hired us on ahead of time, and they invited myself to go out with them to Aurora and go through the program. Again, which I found very enlightening. It was kind of an affirmation to me that, yes, the process that we've been promoting to counties is the right process. It's not coming in and saying, hey, this is what you need to do. You know, we've got a plan all ready to go. It's in the can. We can do it for you. It's go through, ask the questions, look at the options, and then come to a decision. It's a process, and you need the public to support it. A lot of times if they feel things have happened too quick or getting shoved through too fast, then they don't like, they're not supportive of it. So,
I see you did some work at Boone County.
that was actually Boone County, Missouri.
Oh, I thought it said Iowa.
Did it say, well, you know what? I've been with Shive now for 4 years, so they may have done some work in Boone County.
Boone County, yeah.
Iowa, okay, so Mike Lewis in our office did do that work. That was before I joined.
2002.
2002, 40 beds.
That was before I came on board.
There's other people in the jail business. How do
Your
you
buddies.
compare yourself to others? Perhaps
Eldor.
or someone like that? How would you compare your services to someone like that who's?
Well, much better.
Much better.
Much
Okay,
better.
That's all I need to know. That's the same thing they were to say, probably. It's competitive business. I just want to know where you are and or how you feel you are.
I feel that, okay, I'll give you a quick history. I was the justice principal with HMN Architects down in Kansas City. When I moved up, it was 5 years ago, I moved up to Iowa. They were looking to expand, we were looking to grow, moved into Des Moines. We were here for 2 years. At the end of 2 years, they said, you know what? We're gonna pull out of Iowa and we're gonna get out of the justice business. Fine, we got out of the justice business. I told my wife at the time, I said, I could get upset and pitch a fit. I said, but I'm one that believes God doesn't close one door, but he opens another one. So I started checking around. I started, put my name out saying, I had 4 firms that I started looking at. And I ended up selecting Shive because first they have the resources there that I didn't have before. They have a lot more experience and background in the group. Mike Lewis, I think he's only 2 years short of me in terms of actual experience doing jail work. They're focused on the client. They're focused on the operations part of it, which I think is huge. Anybody can come, any jail architect can come in and design a jail. But who's gonna work with you to make sure, so that you know the operations costs? I mean, down the road, you wanna be able to budget not only for your bricks and mortar payment, but what's it gonna cost to operate this thing? Who can work with you on those things and get that information out? So I feel like the group we have focusing on that and really listening to you, in my mind, is the thing that's a differentiator. I'm not gonna say the others don't, because I have never sat in a room to see if they do or not, but I just feel that's something that we do very well.
So just looking at Clinton counties here,
Mhm.
they're in the process yet, aren't they?
They are,
2013.
we're actually bidding that right now. They just took the the construction manager just took the detention equipment and security electronics bids last week. The general construction bid packages will be taken in next week. So they passed the vote and it's out on the street being bid right now.
Okay, so, it says here that you did, the services that you provided with needs assessment,
Mhm.
master plan,
Mhm.
site selection,
Mhm.
public awareness funding assistance,
Mhm.
justice design. So basically, the delivery type is what's coming next.
Mhm. And again, they selected construction management, and so I'm gonna say probably 90% of the projects we've done of late have been with construction manager. You guys understand the delivery difference there? The traditional way of doing buildings, was design, bid, build. Architect does plans, puts them out, general contractors submit their bids, and here's your bid. You just got one contract with the general contractor. Construction manager will come in, they will break the bids down into different packages. I'm gonna say anywhere from a half a dozen to 30 smaller packages. One of the advantages of it allows, I think, local contractors to have more participation. If I have a local painter, if a general contractor comes in, let's say general contractor bids this project, he comes in from Omaha or Des Moines, he's probably gonna have his subs that he typically works with are gonna be coming in with him. But a construction manager can come in and break it out to electrical bids. So maybe ABC Electric, who's really qualified, would have a chance to bid on that. Or, John Doe Drywall, who does drywall work, would have a better chance to bid on it. And we're seeing more of that these days than we had in the past.
So I guess, you know, this kind of helps me a little bit
Mhm.
with the process.
Mhm.
But if you were to do a needs assessment, and then, I think we just had a stadium that just passed.
Okay.
And they said they couldn't actually, for an X amount of dollars, but they couldn't actually come up with a design until it was approved. So is that the way this is gonna work with us as well? I mean,
Again, it depends. And that's why I was talking about as we come in and talk to you. A lot of times, like for Clinton County, what we did to help them in their process, we came in and we did a plan diagram for them. So it took the site and it took a plan that would fit there, but it didn't break it down into all the individual rooms. It broke it down into intake and booking area, housing area, sheriff's administration area, 911 communications area, and it broke it down like that into a plan diagram. That can be done for relatively little in terms of, I should say little, because it's still money to you, but for a lot less than to come in and say, no, we want to actually take it into the level of breaking it down and actually getting a full floor plan with offices and all those areas. So our experience has been a plan diagram with some kind of a rendering or something to kind of give folks an idea of what the outside might look at is usually sufficient in terms of getting a vote passed. Some communities felt, no, we need a full floor plan. We need to develop it, and then that would take us a little bit more time and obviously more cost to be able to do that. But we've had the programming that's been done ahead of time, so we know exactly how much space needs to go in for the admin, for the jail support and all that. So all those blocks are all laid out in terms of those areas, and so we know what the cost is. I've had a couple that I did years ago when I did Clay County. They want a full floor plan. We did a floor plan. The vote pass, and I always tell everybody, the first call I get after a vote pass is from the sheriff, and he says, okay, where's that damn plan? This thing passed, it's real now, where's the plan? Because we've worked through it, but they're like, yeah, sure, it's gonna pass. When it passes, then they wanna look at it. So then I tell them, so okay, here's the deal, guys. I said, we can push and pull spaces around, but we can't grow it. Our number's based on this big a building. So if you wanna move this over here and this over, we can do some of that, but you can't grow it. So that, by doing the plan diagram, we've already got those areas in place, and that allows us to do the other afterwards. Okay. But we can do either way.
Well, I got you. Just out of curiosity, first, I covered the stadium thing extensively. They had a pretty detailed plan that they had ahead of time before the vote.
Mhm.
But I was just curious, I think you called it, I wrote it down somewhere, of course I can't find it now. What would you say, so your firm provides services leading up to a bond vote?
Actually, we can provide services, I'm gonna say technical support services to get to a bond vote. What we can provide is information in terms of, well, I think I might have seen up with one in here. We can provide a TRIFO brochure. This is one we did up in Fulton County, South Dakota. And that's gonna answer the big questions that people are gonna have. Because you wanna be able to give out the same information from a question standpoint. We can help set up maybe a website or provide information if the community's gonna set up a website that can go onto a website. Again, good information that the community wants, because they want answers to those questions. We can provide, right now, the one we're doing down in Dent County, we have a big board that has a plan diagram and it has an elevation, and they did a half a dozen of them. Some are in the bank lobbies and some are elsewhere, and they're taking some of those around to their meetings. So we can provide the technical support. I always tell people, you don't want your architect out though leading the meeting, because again, well, of course he wants it to pass. I mean, that's a job for him, but we can answer the questions. Does this meet, what kind of standards does this meet? What's the cost? We can answer the technical support questions.
Okay. Any other questions?
Do you have questions tomorrow as we call this number?
Yeah, you bet. You bet. Go ahead. That'd be great. You want one of those?
good information.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. Hopefully it was helpful. I guess
Shed
I
a
got-
lot of light on it.
Yeah.
Good, good. Well, that's, people ask me, they go, so why do you do this? I said, for me personally, I find no more appreciative group, because this is the first time you guys have had to deal with something like this. It's the first time the sheriff's had to do it, and they're, a lot of times we're, dealing with pretty substandard facilities and cramped and crowded and everything else. I said, I never get a more appreciative group than when we're able to get something that's clean, it's efficient, it's not over the top. One of the things I hear a lot of times at the open house, particularly when the farmers and stuff come through, they go, yeah, this is what jail ought to be like. Nothing fancy, but it's clean, it's efficient, it's something we can be proud of as a community. It's going to last a while. So,
All right, thanks, Steve.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.
You bet. Thank you.
Damn, how tall are you?
6'6", but I've had my mid-age shrink already. I was about 6'7" when I was up in school, so that was in the Johnny Orr days.
Here's John.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you.
Okay. Where we live? Neil, you were done, weren't you?
I am done, Gene, thank you.
Okay, last Wednesday, Wesco had gotten hold of me. We had some Camelot Square, some housing review papers that we had to sign, so I buzzed over there last Wednesday morning. Then that afternoon, we went down to Des Moines for the ISAC meeting. Sat in with Gene on the executive board meeting, kind of getting things ready to go for a retreat in May, and then the August meetings. Also, I guess one of the dean and kind of brought up some of the committee or the meetings at ISAC. Yes, one of the ones that I'd like to bring up is the inmate trafficking. It's kind of interesting listening to that that meeting. They talked a little bit about the drug issues and human trafficking throughout the state of Iowa, and it was very sad what goes on there.
Yeah,
how
it is sad. You think it doesn't happen around here. But
yeah, but it's closer to home than we think it is. Then also signed checks at Region 12 last Wednesday. And then Saturday was the legislative forum in Manning. Went over to that. One of the things I did bring up with Wesco, we have the Redemption Center over there, brought up the bottle bill, and where that's kind of at this point. And there's some discussion of redoing that bottle bill. I talked with Mark Seabar a little bit afterwards, and we were discussing maybe keeping it or just enhancing what we have. So that's kind of, it'll be interesting to see where that goes at this point. For this week, I've got Wesco this evening, solid waste tomorrow morning, ambulance tomorrow night, Region 12 on Thursday, and Friday is Hungry Canyons in Portsmouth.
So is our meeting with the ambulance board tomorrow night?
Courtney, as you understand it, we were supposed to meet with them tomorrow night?
He was supposed to get back to me if that was gonna work.
I have that penciled in. Do you have that?
I have penciled in.
I don't know why I have it in there. I'm
Well, he
looking for
needed to check
email.
with his board to see if it would work, and I have not heard back from him.
Okay, well, I'm looking for emails now to find out why I have it penciled in.
Yeah, I
And
had
if
it
you wanna,
penciled.
I mean, if somebody wants to get a hold of him, find
Okay.
out, but.
You wanna get hold and find out?
I will get a hold, if there's any changes, and it is tomorrow night, I will text Carroll again.
Okay.
Okay, last week, Tuesday, we had CADC, and basically had a program there from the Iowa Center for Economic Success. And there was that, and then there was the, it was actually two parts, but they're both state programs that help small business as far as getting funding and stuff like that, and that was not the best program. They worked almost compared. Anyway, enough said there. Okay, and then, I lost my train of thought here now. Then on Wednesday, I went out to Region 12 for the county stakeholders on transportation. And this is the Region 12 surface transportation projects applications. We had two of them there this year. One is for in Denison to do a bunch of Avenue C and 7th Street reconstruction. And the other one is with the Iowa DOT for Highway 141 mill and resurface. And that is from 59 to the bridge in Manning, which needs to be done, but that is those aren't projects. And I'll pass these around. There's some maps on the back, projects that are clear back out to 2021, which a long ways away yet, and that needs it bad. All right, and then went to ISAC the rest of the week. I thought there was some very good programs there. We went to the one that, I think there was a couple of us went to the one that called Civility, and we thought that was gonna be kind of
That was pretty
a
good.
very good program. Again, and I'm not gonna go through everything, most of them have been brought up. There was a lot of, sex trafficking and drugs was brought up a lot through the whole system. The one thing that we'll bring up, and I think, was you there at the when we brought
Yes.
these in on NACO?
Yeah.
Yeah, and, Neil, we always talked about that Cadillac tax might be disappearing. One of them new proposals, it's still there. Really?
It's,
And
yeah, this is, this.
I'll put this down, and you can look at it.
Yeah, it's the
surprises me.
initial analysis of the legislation to overhaul the Affordable Care Act. So I think this was the latest from NACO on the Affordable Care Act, so.
Yeah. I think that pretty well covers that. But yeah, I thought there was some very good programs there. We actually got out a decent time yet Friday. And then Saturday was at the legislative forum. And this week, I have got jail committee tomorrow morning. And then there is Yes Center at Cherokee.
Carney. There's Pat right there.
So that'd be this week, so. That's all. Cory, do you have anything?
I'm just gonna pass out, got budget amendment stuff, and I was gonna set the hearing today at the meeting, and after I got to plugging on all the numbers, I thought that maybe you guys would like to look at this over the week. And if you have questions, you can get those answered, and then maybe next Monday we can set the hearing. But I'll give everybody a copy of
You can see this if you want it.
this
This is what now?
for the budget amendment.
Oh, okay.
So that's all I had. I was gonna have it set the hearing, but after I got some of these numbers pulled together, I thought that everybody should have a chance to look at it for a while before we just push it through, so.
Staple these together when it's done.
She had one. Courtney, are we published for that?
No, because I didn't,
Then we really can't do it right
when is it, tomorrow?
tomorrow night.
Yeah, you gotta have 24 hours.
So can't do it.
Well, 24
Tomorrow night?
hours, if it's tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's
I could
tomorrow
make
night.
it- Yeah, I could get it put up.
Okay, so they would like to do it, so.
And technically, we're not, I'll just post it.
So it'll be at the ambulance or here?
At the ambulance.
Okay.
At what time?
What time do we have it? 5, no. 4.
4?
4? I had 5 written down.
It was supposed to be 5, but you guys talked about pushing it back because you had another meeting in Breda or something.
Yeah, and that got changed. So we can have it anytime, to be quite honest with you. You want it at 5?
5 o'clock?
5 o'clock.
Okay, that's fine. That'll work.
All right, yeah, I'll get that posted here when we get done, and
From there.
Okay.
so if you have any questions on that, you can ask me, or you can ask whatever, if you can tell what department it is, you can certainly ask them, but,
Should say it'll be on the agenda next week.
yeah, I'd like to set the hearing for the.
You don't want to set the hearing.
Amendment, so you certainly have all week to.
And hopefully
Get
this
some
will be the
answers.
last one.
I don't foresee there being another one. This one mainly had to be done, to account for the difference in the credits that we received, and then also for the treasurer with the salaries and the driver's license and, you know, her equipment that she's
Oh.
bought. The other stuff, whenever I do a budget amendment, I send an email out to all the department heads and tell them that we're doing it, and if they have anything that they need to, let me know. So, those are the responses I received, and of course, Dave went over his with you guys when he was in here.
Conservation has quite a bit in there.
Yeah, conservation was a surprise.
Yeah, that's all expenses they went over budget on?
No, some of them are board-approved loan and donor contribution to that cabin.
Well, I mean, there's conservation, electric. and
Yeah,
then-
that would be.
Is this capital?
No.
And then there's park maintenance and
Yeah.
sanitation.
You look here at-
disposal. Well, it seems like it's all
Yeah.
stuff
No,
going
it's,
over, right?
this is all general fund. If you look down here, here's your capital.
Oh, there's the capital.
Mhm. So this is all the general fund.
So they went over?
Yep. That's what his email said. And he said it's because REC's rates went up, and I do know that they did.
Yeah, they did.
You know, and I guess if you know, for one place, it's probably not that big a deal, but then you start adding up all the places you paid an REC on.
Well, I'll talk to him about this tonight.
Absolutely.
So, I
yep.
mean, there's conservation maintenance and sanitation disposal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not all.
And he
like-
had explanations, so, I mean, they understand that when they give me an amount, it's not just, they just don't get it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, they always have a
Was this
reason.
an overage on the cabin then project then too?
No, I think that's just to be part of the budget.
That, we kind of knew that was coming. I don't remember it being quite that much, but.
I might have an explanation. Let me see if I printed that out.
Okay, anything else then, Courtney?
No.
All right, you guys can look this over and, is this, I see this mental health advocate salary mileage, did that also get?
Well, Dawn
always
does,
was in
Dawn
there.
usually gives me the numbers for our mental health budget, and that, it wasn't, she gave me amounts for that, but he's over that. I mean, we pay him mileage and salary every month, and we're gonna be out of money here shortly if we don't make a correction to that. And I'm not sure why that number's off, but I looked back to double check my numbers that she gave me back in last year, and they match, so I'm not sure why that's not correct, but.
The lost loan to SRT road crossing project. Explain that to me. I've been getting that one.
Unless I have a
That's
typo there.
the block pavement up here by north of Maple River. That's on that soft trail. I assume that's what that is.
The $12,000?
Yeah,
No, this was.
soft rail trail, road crossing project.
This is 45,000 though.
Oh, that's,
And
I'm
then
sorry,
there's-
that should say cabin. That's the
Oh.
money that the
Oh.
board approved loaning
Oh, for the
conservation
cabin.
for the cabin.
Okay.
I apologize for that.
Oh, that's,
Okay, not the road crossing.
No,
I was
not,
gonna say, because we have 10 up here for that, and then we have 45 down here. I
No,
thought we were
no,
only
no.
doing one, then
and right above there where it says county contribution to Sock Rail Trail.
Yeah.
That should say cabin too. Because you guys approved a $5,000 contribution, and then you also approved a $45,000 loan.
you must have had soft rail trail in mind, huh?
Well, if you look above there, it's a
Yes.
Sock Rail Trail.
Yeah.
So-
And then the 70,000 above that.
Yeah, and those are in his capital fund, so what he's saying is he needs to increase his capital expenditures, that 70,000 for that cabin
Right.
project. So he's pulling that from his capital reserves. And then the 12,000 he's also pulling from his capital reserves to pay for that that
So we're gonna have-
road crossing project.
Let me get this straight then. The cabin project will have his 70 and then 12 more in it?
No, 70 and then 45 more in it.
And 45 more into
Yeah,
it.
well, actually 50, because we have 5 and then 45,
Oh,
so.
oh.
I know
but-
those, I
okay.
think, were his strong side.
Okay.
Okay?
So it was my understanding that we could move that money that the county's contributing at any time, but we need to have it in the budget to be able to do that. And I would guess that we would let him pay until he was close to that 70, and then the county would pitch in at that point. I
Yeah,
don't know,
that's-
I don't know that you wanna move all that money in there until, you know, if he needs it all, maybe.
Right.
But we need to do it before the end of the year if he does need it.
Okay. Anything else?
I'll make those corrections on there too, so that makes more
Okay.
sense.
Any comments from those within?
Matter of fact, yes. So I'll preface this by saying I talked to Justin on his way out. I'm not gonna publish any of this till at least the end of the week. Give him some time to alert his clients and so on and so forth.
That's one of the reasons why I asked that, because I'm doing the radio today and I don't know. I'm just gonna be a general statement. It's not gonna be.
Right, I just don't want, it's like I told him, I don't need a bunch of people panicking, calling his
Right.
office, calling you know.
Right.
So once he said he was gonna send something out today or tomorrow, so I told him I'd probably publish it Friday.
Appreciate that, Matt.
Anyway, this caught me by surprise. I wasn't aware of this. When were you guys nobody seemed shocked?
Well,
when
this
were
all
you guys-
came about by the letter that we got from the MCO.
Right, when was that?
Mayor Health.
That maybe
That-
3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
3-4 weeks ago.
And basically they just said, hey, we're taking over clients ourselves and
Yep.
so I guess the follow-up to that, what does that mean financially for the county moving forward? Are you not responsible anymore for, or are you still paying them for that? How does that work?
Our financial, once these people are gone, basically our financial responsibility is the staffing
Right.
and the office space. So once the office is closed, we won't have any financial responsibility.
Okay, that's what I
After the
thought.
end of April, that should end.
That's what I figured.
The only financial, one thing that we are concerned about is this bill that we've got from the IME or whatever.
Yeah.
So that we're supposed to be working down as we were earning money.
Right, the loan. Okay, that makes sense. I assume the budget's been submitted to the state now
It's gonna be in by the 15th.
by the 15th.
It was certified last week.
It was certified last
Yeah.
week, okay, perfect.
Caught me off guard, I'm like, we already did that.
No, I know, I just wanna make sure. And then we have our progress edition coming out here, end of the month. One of my things is the housing study that we did. Just, can you remind me what the county's role in that was? 'Cause I know CADC, I'll be talking to them.
Well, it was the county, the city, and the CAC
Right.
contributed money to do that study.
And has anything really been done with it yet?
There is a group that's went through CAC that meets, and best talk to Shannon on that.
Yeah, I'll talk to Shannon.
What do you mean it's anything been done?
Any projects or, things that, we saw in the study, we need this kind of housing, so we're gonna allocate funding for this, or. try to
We
put
haven't
some
done anything
funds.
for.
No, we haven't done
Funding or
anything.
nothing like that.
No.
And I'll be honest with you, I think one of the things that's happened when the study went on, I think it made people aware, and we have, seemed like we have an uptick in houses going on. You know, construction is, would you read on that statement, Neil?
Yes, yes.
So, I think some of it, like, just by,
Right, we having to be out in the ether.
just by us stirring the pot a little bit, created an interest.
The housing starts, they go up.
Yeah.
All right. that's all
But
I
there
got.
is a group with CADC that continues to monitor that.
Yeah, I'm gonna get.
Because
Shannon
that was
a
one
call
of the
today,
things
but-
that we want to do is continue to monitor that thing.
All right, you guys will, get to see a prettier face than mine next week, so have fun, Rebecca.
Are you done then?
No, but I'm gonna be in Vegas,
Will
so,
we get to see you again before you leave?
yes, I will be here the 27th, will be my last meeting. I guess, yeah, you weren't here, I took a job in Dubuque. So, yeah,
I
I'll be, you guys will get to see.
I didn't know that either.
I missed that. You didn't tell us.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he
did? When?
Last week.
Last week.
You said you were over there.
Oh, you know what?
You
I
know what,
missed-
you two guys might have walked out, you were here, weren't you?
Yeah, I was in there.
Might have been
I-
when we
you
took
guys
a-
might
we took the
be-
recess.
We took a recess. because
Oh,
we had
that's
that
fine.
time,
Well,
so.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
I guess.
Congratulations, I
Or
guess
condolences,
it's a move
whichever
up
way you
for
look
you.
at it.
or-
Yeah, it was tough to turn down about a $3 an hour raise plus better benefits. So, and
You
I like
did?
Dubuque too, so I'm looking forward to it, but
Okay.
I was there again this weekend looking for a place to live. I'm find out today if I get the place I wanted. It was
Pretty
between
city.
me and one other guy, so we'll see. But yeah, we had this trip to Vegas planned way before the job switch and already paid for, and I was like, well, I'm going to Vegas regardless.
Sounds responsible.
Well,
Yeah.
well, we decided it's my birthday is a Friday, and then it's also the first weekend of the tournament, so we figured.
Patrick's Day is your birthday?
Yep. So
Really?
we figured it would be a,
That'd be a nasty one every year.
It'd be a
wouldn't it?
bad break, wouldn't it?
it's the best birthday. You know you're gonna find somebody to go have a beer with you on your birthday, no matter what day of the week it is.
There's always a
On
party
St.
on your
Patrick's
birthday.
Day.
Chicago River's green already.
Is it? That's all I got for everybody, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
I do
Make
have
a
an
mo-
email here from Dave, regarding to a manhole at Mount Carmel. Mark Canley, is that how you pronounce it?
Neely?
K-A-N-E?
It's Neely.
Call about a hole by a manhole that used to serve as a collection system for the sewer prior to the new sewer system being installed. Who would be responsible for this type of problem? I question if it's still used. I wouldn't want to abandon it.
I check with Carrie, and if she doesn't know, I mean,
I'll check with Curie. I'll follow up on that.
Or I can do it too.
Are we getting difference?
Yeah.
You gonna do it? Okay.
I'll try to bring it up all. All right, we're in order for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Move to adjourn. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carries. And then we will go on to